changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more complaining. People, their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more, no more.
Probably 6 months ago, my buddy Joe said he bought himself a weighted blanket. And I was like, what is a weighted blanket? And if you don't know, a weighted blanket is exactly what it sounds like. I was going to bring mine in here, but it's 20 pounds. And the interesting thing about weight is the more condensed it is, the easier it is for us to lift it. If you take, a 10-pound board, but it's 20 feet long, you grab one end, it's almost impossible to lift. But if you've got a 20-pound bowling ball, you can probably lift it. All right. So I didn't bring it in because I knew I would be just like this. And I actually slept under it last night, which I think is part of the reason I'm in such an amazing mood this morning. My buddy recommended this to me, and I found it on Amazon, looked at it, and of course, I had to go for the heaviest one they have. And I got it, and I started using it, and it was amazing, not only how it feels when you first put it on. Some people, I would imagine, find it very claustrophobic, and I have to be very careful because it weighs twice as much as Teddy. So I can't just roll over and kick it off me in the middle of the night on top of Teddy. But I gave the thing a try, and there's something calming, especially if you have PTSD. There's something very calming. It's like being hugged all over your body in a very comfortable way. And it's just pressing you down in just a snuggly way. And I didn't find that it made me any warmer than a regular blanket of that size. And I've been using it. And what's interesting is everyone who comes into my apartment sees it and goes, is that a weighted blanket? And I go, yep, sure is. And they go, oh, I love mine. So I think if you don't know about these, they're sort of becoming an underground phenomenon. Everybody's getting them and wanting them. They're kind of like air fryers. Everybody's getting an air fryer right now. And so that's what these are. And mine really, I like it. It's good if I'm watching a Kansas City Chiefs game and we're winning and all of a sudden starting to lose. It just feels good. And like I said, I slept under mine last night. And I was thinking about having an emotional weighted blanket. People with emotional disorders, mental disorders, they often don't have an emotional weighted blanket. Their emotions are allowed because of what was modeled for them or because of trauma in their life. Their emotions have sort of broken free from a tether, from something that will keep them from going off the reservation, just going overboard, snapping, going nuts. I'm sure you've seen, unfortunately, I've seen this. There's a woman who had an emotional breakdown in a Victoria's Secret, and it was self-imposed. She started out just being a total Karen about a bunch of stuff. And someone started filming her, and the fact that she was being filmed, the woman, until she was literally lying on the floor screaming. And this is a middle-aged woman. And by screaming, I mean tantrum. This is a person who has learned, who has lost their emotional tether. They no longer have an emotional weighted blanket. I want to talk with you about developing emotional weighted blankets. And often those emotional weighted blankets are actually things that are tactile. In other words, we're trying to maintain our emotions, to keep our emotions in check. And the best way to do that is often to get into our physicality. So I'm going to give you some suggestions of things you can do, but often we can't employ any single one in a given situation. For example, I got pulled over the other night. I think I told you this. I got pulled over by a cop the other night, and it was for a very minor traffic infraction. And I couldn't find readily my registration. And he said, don't worry about it. And then he wrote me a ticket for not having my registration. I was like, I do have it. You told me not to. So in that moment, I couldn't have put on a really upbeat song. I did a few minutes later. And so I want to talk with you about some of the tactile physical things that we can do that can help us break that emotion as it's starting to rise up. Many of the things I'm going to share with you, you could find by going back and watching my 10-part series I just did on mindfulness. The most important thing you can do, blow out birthday candles. When you find yourself in a stressful situation, don't do anything. Don't do anything. The best thing you can do is nothing. It's hard to remember. And so it's best if you see a stressful situation coming on, the best thing you can do is absolutely take a few breaths and blow out birthday candles. Here's why. Now, whether you're watching or listening, did you notice how long it took me to do that? I have just slowed my breath down considerably. First thing our breath wants to do is get short. We need to lengthen it. It is our sympathetic nervous system that throws us into fight or flight mode. It is our parasympathetic nervous system, that is the one that we can control, that causes us to be in rest and digest mode, which causes us to be emotionally weighted down. We're calmer. So, taking several deep breaths and blowing out birthday candles. And the reason you want to blow out the birthday candles is you restrict your airflow. The exhalation is what puts you into the parasympathetic nervous system. All right. I don't want to get too much behind the science. I know some of you are nerds about this. So, blowing out birthday candles. I alluded to another one. Have a go-to song that you can just put on, something that just gets you going. You cannot help dancing to or being. Uh, Mine is Dancing at the Bon du Jour by King Creole and the Coconuts. In fact, we'll make that our song of the day. We're going to get back to DJ Ed's list in a little bit when he's feeling better. But the song of the day, I'm not going to be able to spell this right. Dancing at the, I think it's on du jour. Anyway, King Creole and the Coconuts. So have a song that you can put on when and decide this. You need to have your in DBT. This is called your distress tolerance toolkit. You need to have your distress tolerance toolkit put together before you need it. Before you need it, not when you need it. King Creole and the Cocoa Nuts. There we go. Song of the day. So have a song, blow out birthday candles. The other thing is, and this is something many people have recommended to me when I have hit an emotional, have you ever hit that period where you are just so emotionally engaged and stressed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? All right. When you are so stressed, walk away. And that by that, take a walk. You're going into fight or flight mode. So flee. Take a brisk walk away from the situation. Walk down the street. walk around the apartment complex. There are a lot of people here who walk because I live on the fifth floor and we have long corridors, 10 condos long on each floor. There are a lot of people here who simply just walk across all the corridors, up and down. Do something to raise your heart rate and at the same time to get you physically moving away from the situation. That's what you need to do. You need to physically move away from the situation. So, number one, blow out birthday candles. Number two, have a song you can crank up that I see a number of you sharing right now what your song is. These are your emotional weighted blankets. Number three, take a walk away. All right. Number three is take a walk. And number four is decide how upset you're going to let any situation get you. Now, that's a difficult one. I have to tell you. I was thinking about this yesterday and this is my life. When I come up with an idea like this, the universe goes, "Oh yeah, let's see how you do in this situation." I was about to close the door yesterday because the wind was so strong. It was blowing over my lamps and it caught the hurricane door and slammed the hurricane door full force, heavy door on the tip of my little pinky right there. I think it would be fair to say I lost it. I totally just was like, ah, insert multiple curse words repeated here. So in those situations, I think it's somewhat normal. And we've talked about actually how curse words are stored in a different part of your brain so that you can bring them up when you need them. However, what I'm saying is that if someone cuts you off in traffic, how upset are you going to be? If someone walks down the aisle to try and cut ahead of you on the plane to get off faster than you, how upset are you going to be? Etc., etc., etc. You need to select your own emotional weighted blankets, the things that are going to calm your emotions down, and you need to have them ready now. So today, my challenge for you today, I always like to end the day with a challenge. My challenge for you is to create your own list of 3 to 5 things. You can use these. Blowing out birthday candles, have a song. What is it? I see somebody listed Happy by Pharrell Williams. Have a song. Blow out birthday candles. Take a walk. More importantly, decide just how upset you're going to be. I know that's one of the things that has caused me to struggle in relationships is that in my family, everything was a huge thing and there was always multiple big things. And that's not the way we want to live life. We want to live life just enjoying things, somewhere in that middle ground. And we do that by having an emotional weighted blanket to keep us grounded.
No more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more complaining people. Their lives are changing. We're flying high, creating a complaint-free world. No more.